The Tactical Operations Center hummed with mission preparation until General Morrison's patience snapped. "Skip the computer games, Sergeant Kim," he commanded, dismissal clear in his voice. The unassuming woman in standard-issue fatigues leaned toward her simulation console and spoke 14 words that changed everything. The effect was immediate. The intelligence analyst's mission folder slipped from his hands, scattering across the polished floor. Senior commanders froze at their planning stations, and faces drained of color throughout the briefing facility. No one had expected the simulation technician to predict the exact enemy flanking maneuver. No one had expected the quiet woman relegated to running scenarios to save an entire battalion from encirclement. No one had expected the truth. From which city in the world are you watching this video today? If this story captivated you, please consider subscribing. We share powerful stories of unsung heroes every week. The Advanced Tactical Operations Center buzzed with the constant hum of mission planning computers and urgent strategic preparation. Banks of digital displays cast blue light across focused faces, illuminating battlefield maps dotted with red enemy positions and green friendly forces. The air carried the scent of strong coffee and sophisticated electronics, mixed with the tension that came with planning high-risk combat operations in hostile territory. It was 0500 hours on what had begun as a final mission briefing at Forward Command Base Falcon, buried beneath the Afghan mountains. Staff Sergeant Lisa Kim sat at her assigned simulation workstation, deliberately positioned away from the main tactical planning section. Her black hair was pulled back in regulation military style, no personal items visible except for standard-issue security credentials. Early 30s, with analytical eyes that spoke of mathematical precision rather than combat experience. Her attention moved constantly between multiple battlefield simulation displays and predictive modeling software, while her physical presence was carefully minimized in the command-dominated planning environment. To a casual observer, she might have been any simulation analyst, a recent graduate from war gaming school perhaps, or another specialist assigned to run computer models while remaining distant from actual operational planning. She occasionally made entries in an advanced computer terminal, her work sophisticated but largely dismissed by the command staff. Unlike the field commanders and senior officers who dominated the operations center with their combat experience and tactical credentials, she wore no visible markers of field operations experience or combat qualifications. Just a simulation analyst, it seemed, with specialized computer training and an assignment to run predictive models while remaining separate from actual mission planning. The operation underway involved planning a critical reconnaissance mission through the Helmand province, inserting special operations forces to gather intelligence on Taliban leadership positions. The mission had developed according to established planning protocols. Infiltration routes analyzed, enemy capabilities assessed, and tactical coordination established with various support elements. Colonel Martinez, a veteran special operations commander with multiple combat deployment credentials, coordinated the mission planning with practiced efficiency, moving between planning stations and monitoring tactical development throughout the advanced facility. Taliban forces had predictable defensive patterns to follow regarding territory protection, Martinez explained to the planning staff, his voice carrying across the sophisticated operations center. Their procedures for establishing defensive perimeters typically follow established guerrilla warfare tactics and historical precedent. General Morrison sat prominently at the primary command console, his face reflecting the intensity of high-stakes mission coordination. A career special operations officer with 24 years of service, he appeared focused and determined in his combat uniform, as if the complexity of coordinating multi-unit special operations had heightened his tactical intensity during recent hours. Lisa watched it all from her isolated simulation station, her expression revealing nothing. Only the occasional manipulation of her predictive modeling display suggested any emotional response to the unfolding mission planning. When Colonel Martinez called for updated threat analysis, heads turned briefly toward Lisa's position at the simulation processing station. Sergeant Kim has been running tactical scenarios, Colonel Martinez announced. She may have additional technical data on enemy movement patterns and predictive modeling. She approached the central briefing area with measured analytical professionalism that seemed at odds with her simulation specialist assignment. Something about her movement, posture confident, steps purposeful, eyes constantly evaluating the tactical displays, caught the attention of a distinguished command sergeant major seated near the main planning console. He observed her with growing interest, noting details that didn't quite align with typical simulation analyst profiles. General Morrison, authoritative and demanding, watched her with narrowed attention as she prepared her technical presentation. The general was known for his direct approach to tactical planning and operational efficiency. Today, he wore command authority with intensity, his uniform bearing the ribbons of previous special operations. "Present your simulation analysis for the record," instructed General Morrison. "Staff Sergeant Lisa Kim, battlefield simulation analyst," she replied. Her voice was quiet but precise, her military bearing professional. Colonel Martinez began his technical questions, and Lisa's responses were analytically sophisticated and detailed, but delivered in such a controlled, measured tone that General Morrison soon grew visibly impatient. Several times, planning personnel had to ask her to clarify modeling terminology. "Sergeant Kim," General Morrison finally interrupted. "The entire tactical planning staff needs to understand your simulation data clearly. Explain your findings in operational terms." "Yes, sir," Lisa responded, barely adjusting her technical vocabulary. Colonel Martinez continued. "Sergeant Kim, can you explain your simulation modeling activities and predictive analysis procedures?" "I've been conducting comprehensive analysis of enemy movement data using advanced battlefield simulation systems," she replied, her voice still frustratingly technical. "I've processed multiple tactical scenarios and threat modeling across various enemy configurations and operational patterns." "And what analytical patterns have your systems detected?" "I've documented baseline enemy movement patterns consistent with known Taliban tactical behavior and established operational methodology. Significant anomalies detected in specific terrain corridors that suggest coordinated flanking capability beyond normal insurgent operational parameters. Advanced simulation analysis indicates sophisticated tactical coordination using military-grade planning techniques." "Have you documented these simulation findings?" "Yes. I've created comprehensive digital archives of all predictive modeling data with detailed scenario analysis and probability correlation according to established simulation documentation protocols." "Was this simulation analysis distributed to tactical planning staff?" "It was processed through appropriate technical channels per standard simulation reporting procedures." The operations officer, Lieutenant Colonel Hayes, approached for additional questioning with obvious skepticism about technical analysis from simulation support personnel. Tall and imposing with extensive special operations ribbons that reflected specialized experience, he moved with the confidence of someone accustomed to evaluating technical reports from rear area support staff. "Sergeant Kim, what specific training qualifies you to analyze complex tactical prediction scenarios?" "I completed advanced simulation systems training at the Army War College, including enemy behavior modeling and advanced tactical prediction courses." "And what level of operational field experience?" His tone clearly suggested the answer would confirm her limited operational credentials. "I achieved expert-level certification in multiple simulation platforms and tactical prediction systems," Lisa responded professionally. Lieutenant Colonel Hayes smiled dismissively. "Sergeant Kim, how could you possibly understand the operational complexities of special operations when you've been running computer simulations for only 34 months? Something flickered across General Morrison's face. A brief moment of recognition quickly suppressed. He studied Lisa more carefully now, noting technical details he had previously overlooked. "Sir," respectfully, Colonel Martinez interjected. "Sergeant Kim's simulation analysis should be evaluated based on the quality of her predictive modeling data, not assumptions about her operational background." "Agreed," General Morrison replied, his eyes remaining focused on Lisa with renewed interest. Lieutenant Colonel Hayes adjusted his approach. "Let me rephrase. What direct tactical planning experience do you have that would qualify you to assess operational threats from simulation modeling?" Lisa paused before answering, her eyes briefly meeting those of the distinguished command sergeant major near the planning console. "My background includes some practical application of predictive modeling techniques in operational special operations environments," she said carefully. "Could you be more specific about this tactical planning experience?" "That information involves previous assignments that may not be directly relevant to current simulation parameters." Lieutenant Colonel Hayes looked toward the commanding general. Sir, if the sergeant lacks relevant tactical planning experience, her interpretation of simulation modeling should be weighted accordingly in our operational assessments. I'll allow continued questioning, General Morrison ruled. Sergeant Kim, please provide more detail about your relevant operational background. Lisa's expression remained neutral. My previous operational experience involves classified predictive modeling programs. How convenient, Lieutenant Colonel Hayes remarked sarcastically. So we're expected to give operational weight to your simulation analysis without knowing your actual qualifications to make such tactical assessments? I'm providing technical analysis of enemy behavior modeling using established military simulation protocols and tactical prediction procedures. As the questioning continued, Lisa responded with increasingly sophisticated details about advanced simulation techniques, enemy tactical pattern recognition, and operational predictive analysis that made several planning officers exchange meaningful glances. She referenced specific modeling capabilities, threat assessment procedures, and operational prediction methods that seemed well beyond the knowledge base of a standard simulation support analyst. When shown a tactical map of the current mission route analysis, her eyes studied it with intensity that suggested deeper familiarity, her professional composure revealing subtle signs of personal investment in the operational outcome. Do you recognize specific tactical elements of this mission route configuration, Sergeant Kim? Lieutenant Colonel Hayes asked. Yes, it represents the current infiltration plan through Helmand Province, with particular emphasis on movement corridors and potential enemy reaction positions along the primary and alternate routes. And your simulation modeling of this route has confirmed what exactly? Your technical analysis hasn't identified any operational threats that would alter our current mission planning. Lisa's voice remained steady and professional. My battlefield simulation analysis has documented baseline enemy movement patterns and tactical indicators. My recommendations for enhanced route analysis of specific terrain corridors were included in my formal simulation reports. In the Tactical Operations Center, the older command sergeant major with extensive special operations deployment ribbons watched Lisa with growing intensity, his experienced face reflecting concentration as if trying to place half-remembered details from previous classified operations. The early morning hours passed as Colonel Martinez returned for follow-up questions, asking Lisa about specific simulation protocols used during the mission planning. Can you explain the standard predictive modeling procedures for a special operations mission of this scope? Martinez asked. The simulation systems would establish primary and secondary scenario analysis covering all designated infiltration corridors, she explained, her voice maintaining that technical precision. Standard protocols require continuous predictive modeling with redundant simulation platforms and regular threat assessment updates to tactical commanders. And if those simulation systems detected unexpected tactical developments or operational changes, the simulation analyst would immediately alert tactical commanders using priority prediction channels and reconfigure modeling systems to provide enhanced threat analysis against special operations vulnerabilities, she explained with a level of tactical sophistication that raised eyebrows among the planning staff present. General Morrison leaned forward, his patience with technical jargon wearing visibly thin. Sergeant Kim, I've asked you repeatedly to communicate in terms relevant to tactical planning. This center cannot effectively utilize simulation analysis that requires constant technical interpretation. I apologize, sir, Lisa replied, her communication style barely becoming less technical. The older command sergeant major in the operations center now leaned forward at his position, his eyes never leaving Lisa's face, recognition seeming to dawn slowly, his expression shifting from casual interest to something approaching concern. Lieutenant Colonel Hayes seized on the general's frustration. Perhaps Sergeant Kim's reliance on technical terminology reflects her limited understanding of how simulation analysis actually applies to operational tactical planning and special operations security. Colonel Martinez responded immediately. Sir, that's an unfair characterization of the sergeant's simulation expertise and predictive analysis capabilities. Noted, Colonel, General Morrison replied firmly. Lieutenant Colonel Hayes, please focus your questions on the sergeant's simulation findings rather than speculating about her tactical analysis capabilities. Lieutenant Colonel Hayes nodded in acknowledgement. Sergeant Kim, In your professional assessment as a battlefield simulation analyst, was there anything in your predictive modeling that would indicate modification of current mission procedures? Lisa looked directly at the main tactical display for the first time during the briefing. My simulation analysis suggests enemy movement patterns and tactical indicators that warrant enhanced operational awareness. That wasn't my specific question. Based on what your simulation systems modeled, should current special operations continue as planned? Based on my technical analysis of predictive modeling data, current operations should continue, but with modifications to route security protocols in specific tactical sectors. Lieutenant Colonel Hayes's expression hardened. Are you suggesting that tactical planning staff has inadequately assessed simulation modeling requirements? I'm stating that my technical recommendations for enhanced predictive analysis of specific terrain corridors differed from the modeling parameters actually implemented for this operation. The operations center stirred with quiet tactical discussion. General Morrison tapped his pen once against his console, restoring order. Sergeant Kim, General Morrison said, his voice carrying obvious impatience. You need to explain that simulation assessment in practical terms the entire tactical staff can understand. What specific terrain corridors require different predictive analysis? Lisa paused, her eyes scanning the operations center briefly before returning to the general. When she spoke, her voice maintained that technical precision, forcing tactical staff officers to pay closer attention. My battlefield simulation identified enemy movement patterns in grid squares 16 Bravo through 24 Delta that exhibit characteristics requiring enhanced threat assessment beyond standard special operations security parameters. These terrain corridors were not included in the primary predictive modeling tasking provided to simulation analysis operations. General Morrison's head lifted, his carefully maintained operational focus sharpening noticeably. The distinguished command sergeant major's expression showed growing recognition as he studied Lisa with renewed intensity. Sergeant Kim, General Morrison said firmly, operational urgency evident in his tone. This represents potentially critical tactical intelligence. Explain clearly what your simulation systems detected in those terrain corridors. Lisa looked directly at General Morrison. A moment of quiet recognition seemed to pass between them, though the general quickly returned to professional command demeanor. The experienced command sergeant major in the operations center was now gripping his tactical materials, his knuckles showing white. General Morrison leaned forward with visible concern at his planning console. Sergeant Kim, we have special operations forces deploying in 90 minutes. If your simulation modeling detected something significant about enemy positioning, reported immediately. The operations center fell silent. For the first time since beginning her technical briefing, Lisa looked directly at General Morrison with unmistakable urgency. The quiet recognition between them became more evident, though the general maintained his command composure. The experienced command sergeant major near the planning console leaned forward, his hands ready at his tactical equipment. Suddenly, urgent priority alerts activated throughout the main tactical system. The forward intelligence teams reported enemy movement detected along the planned infiltration route, with positioning that exactly matched Lisa's simulation predictions. The alert was brief, urgent, and accompanied by immediate threat assessment protocols throughout the facility. All tactical elements. This is intelligence operations. General Morrison called over the emergency frequency. Confirm threat assessment status immediately. The operations center filled with overlapping priority reports as various intelligence systems tried to provide threat verification. The situation was critical, with enemy forces moving into flanking positions exactly as predicted by the battlefield simulation. Lisa leaned toward her simulation equipment and spoke clearly over the emergency frequency. Intelligence operations, this is predictive analysis. I have confirmed tactical modeling of enemy flanking maneuver. Grid coordinates 34, Tango, 8734 through 8738. Simulation analysis indicates coordinated encirclement using advanced tactical positioning. Special operations route compromise confirmed at multiple choke points. The effect was immediate and electric. General Morrison's tactical materials nearly slipped from his grasp. Several staff officers physically straightened at their positions as if receiving critical operational intelligence. Lieutenant Colonel Hayes's face showed complete shock. The distinguished command sergeant major near the planning console stood up quickly, then deliberately sat back down with recognition evident in his expression. Complete silence fell over the operations center as understanding dawned across various faces. Some looked confused by the sudden tactical expertise. Others appeared shocked by the authority in her voice, and a few, those who grasped the significance of what they had just witnessed, seemed stunned. Lisa continued in her normal controlled voice, but now everyone was listening intently. That predictive modeling was accomplished using advanced simulation techniques and classified tactical analysis capabilities I learned during my deployment with the 75th Ranger Regiment's Special Operations Planning Teams 10 years ago. I was also the lead simulation analyst attached to Project War Prophet, which General Morrison personally supervised during classified operations before our program was terminated. She systematically activated multiple battlefield simulation systems on the main display screens and demonstrated them for the tactical staff to observe. These are real-time predictive modeling feeds showing the enemy flanking positions that would have encircled the Special Operations Forces using coordinated tactical positioning. The enemy forces weren't randomly positioned. They were using sophisticated tactical intelligence about our infiltration procedures and route planning methods. General Morrison attempted to maintain operational composure, but his voice carried obvious recognition. Sergeant Kim, this represents a significant departure from standard simulation support procedures. My team and I were reassigned to regular Army planning units after Project War Prophet was classified and terminated 10 years ago, Lisa continued calmly. I've spent the last 6 years working under standard military occupational specialty classifications while waiting for another situation where my specialized predictive modeling training could prevent tactical failures that compromise American special operations. A younger tactical analyst near the simulation console looked up with confusion. This doesn't make sense. Project War Prophet's simulation analysts were all reported as transferred to different assignments after that program was terminated. The distinguished command sergeant major turned to address him quietly. Look at her modeling techniques, Sergeant. Look at how she's coordinating those predictive systems. You don't learn that level of tactical simulation in regular planning school. Lisa activated additional simulation displays to reveal detailed information about enemy tactical coordination, flanking positioning techniques, and operational intelligence methods that had been invisible using conventional planning approaches. My previous unit was terminated because we discovered that senior tactical officers were deliberately providing our predictive modeling capabilities to enemy organizations through private contractors who were supposed to be supporting our simulation development. The operations center erupted into controlled tactical activity as staff officers began coordinating immediate mission protection responses. General Morrison activated emergency planning protocols, his face showing a combination of shock and professional determination. This tactical operations center will implement immediate security procedures, he declared, his voice steady despite obvious emotional impact. But before anyone could fully process the implications, Lisa continued. Sir, this special operations mission has been compromised from the beginning. I've spent 6 years analyzing similar tactical failures and gathering evidence about the intelligence breaches that led to my unit's termination. This represents the same operational pattern, same predictive intelligence methods, same systematic betrayal. General Morrison slowly turned in his tactical command chair, his operational authority visibly affected by recognition. He nodded once, a gesture of acknowledgement and renewed professional trust. Project War Prophet was classified above top secret, Lisa continued. Our mission involved developing predictive modeling capabilities against enemy tactical systems and operational planning methods. We discovered that our simulation technology was being systematically compromised by someone with access to our development programs, someone who was selling our predictive capabilities to the same enemy organizations we were supposed to be targeting. She activated her simulation control systems and displayed an encrypted data storage device. This contains 10 years of predictive modeling data, simulation techniques, and operational security documentation that proves how our tactical capabilities were being systematically betrayed. This special operations mission wasn't vulnerable because of tactical planning inadequacies. It was targeted because enemy organizations knew exactly how to defeat our protective measures using our own predictive intelligence. Lieutenant Colonel Hayes attempted to restore normal tactical briefing procedures, but found himself struggling with the operational security implications. Sergeant Kim, this represents highly irregular simulation intelligence reporting procedures. My unit was terminated and scattered to prevent us from investigating the intelligence compromises further. Lisa continued with professional calm. I was the designated simulation analyst who maintained all our predictive modeling development data and operational security documentation. I've spent 6 years working in regular assignments while waiting for the right opportunity to expose the source of those intelligence compromises and prevent American lives from being lost because of systematic simulation betrayal. Colonel Martinez approached Lisa with obvious concern and growing professional respect. Specialist Prophet, if what you're reporting is accurate, how did you maintain access to classified simulation capabilities, and why choose this special operations mission to reveal your background? Lisa's professional composure never wavered. I maintained access because I never officially left predictive modeling operations. My assignment to regular simulation support was supposed to be temporary cover while Project War Prophet investigated the intelligence compromises. When the investigation was terminated and the unit disbanded, I continued developing countermeasures using my legitimate access to simulation systems. She indicated the real-time simulation feeds showing successful enemy position identification. I chose this moment because American Special Operations Forces are going to die unless someone provides accurate intelligence about enemy tactical positioning and the capabilities being used against them. This mission is being targeted by people who know our infiltration procedures because someone sold them our operational intelligence. The distinguished Command Sergeant Major approached the briefing area. Sir, request permission to address the tactical staff. I am Command Sergeant Major Harrison, recently returned from assignment with predictive modeling operations. I worked with Project War Prophet during their classified simulation development programs. He turned to face Lisa. Specialist Prophet was one of the most skilled predictive modeling analysts I encountered during my career. If she reports that this special operations mission involves compromised American intelligence, I believe her assessment without question. Lieutenant Colonel Hayes interjected with growing frustration. This is highly irregular, but it doesn't change the immediate tactical situation we're managing. This special operations mission needs to proceed regardless of any alleged intelligence compromises. The situations are directly connected, Lisa replied. This special operations mission was specifically targeted using stolen American predictive modeling intelligence while simultaneously testing the same intelligence compromise network that my unit was investigating. Same operational pattern, same simulation betrayal, same systematic intelligence sales. She activated additional simulation data on her control systems. This is tactical intelligence showing that enemy organizations received advanced notification of special operations procedures, route planning methods, and security operation capabilities. The source of that intelligence leak is the same private contracting network that compromised Project War Prophet's operations 10 years ago. General Morrison studied the simulation displays, his command authority gradually returning as he processed the operational security intelligence. This simulation intelligence wasn't included in our pre-mission security briefing because it was deliberately removed by the same people who have been compromising our tactical operations, Lisa said. Just like the predictive modeling capabilities my unit developed were altered before reaching operational commanders. The pattern is identical because the source is identical. The operations center had grown absolutely focused. Every person present understood they were witnessing something extraordinary while simultaneously managing immediate implications for ongoing special operations. Even the simulation operators had prioritized Lisa's predictive updates while maintaining emergency coordination with special operations security teams. Colonel Martinez approached the tactical console. Sir, based on this new intelligence, I recommend immediate modification of our mission response and potentially reassessing how this entire operation was planned and coordinated. General Morrison nodded with restored operational confidence. Agreed. All mission responses will be modified immediately based on current simulation assessments. He paused, then added, Specialist Profit will remain integrated with Special Operations until this operational security situation is completely resolved. As staff officers coordinated the security response, Lisa continued her simulation briefing. There's additional information you need to understand, sir. She accessed a secured file on her simulation system. This contains the original tactical security assessment for Special Operations with your authorization signature. And this, she displayed another document, is the modified security briefing that was actually implemented. The simulation assessments don't match. General Morrison examined both documents with obvious shock. Someone altered the tactical security briefing after I approved it, he said, recognition and anger evident in his voice. Yes, Lisa confirmed. You've been carrying operational responsibility for Special Operations decisions based on compromised simulation assessments you never actually authorized. The same private contracting network that destroyed Project War Profit has been systematically altering tactical intelligence to serve enemy interests while profiting from intelligence sales. Command Sergeant Major Harrison moved closer to the display. I always wondered why certain Special Operations seem to face unexpected tactical challenges. This explains security problems we've been encountering across multiple combat deployments. General Morrison looked up, professional determination overriding emotional impact. I've been commanding Special Operations for 6 years, believing my simulation assessments were reaching operational units accurately. I authorized security plans, but someone has been systematically modifying them to serve hostile interests. The Operations Center entrance opened, and a team of counterintelligence investigators entered, led by a serious-looking official from the Army Criminal Investigation Command. What's the status of this Special Operations mission? The official demanded. General Morrison, I'm Agent Martinez from CID Counterintelligence. We received credible intelligence yesterday indicating serious operational security breaches involving private contractors and simulation intelligence sales to enemy organizations. We understand there may be connected predictive modeling intelligence being reported in this operations center. Lisa allowed herself a slight smile. Exactly on schedule, she said quietly. Agent Martinez approached her position. You would be Specialist Profit, formerly of Project War Profit. I would be. We have extensive questions about your simulation activities and the evidence you've been collecting regarding intelligence sales to enemy organizations. And I have comprehensive answers, Agent. 10 years of documentation. The agent addressed General Morrison. Sir, with your permission, I'd like to coordinate with your Special Operations while securing the intelligence Specialist Profit has provided for formal counterintelligence investigation. General Morrison nodded decisively. Granted, but our immediate priority is determining the operational security implications for current and future Special Operations military missions. Understood completely, sir. Our investigation supports rather than interferes with Special Operations and tactical security. The Operations Center began reorganizing around both the mission coordination and the security investigation, but Lisa remained integrated with the operational response rather than isolated from it. General Morrison approached her directly. I still don't understand the complete operational picture, he said, looking directly at her simulation displays. Why would you risk exposure to intervene in today's mission? Your cover assignment provided security while you gathered evidence about intelligence compromises. Because American Special Operations forces are going to die unless someone provides accurate predictive intelligence about enemy tactical positioning and the capabilities being used against them, Lisa replied simply. You trusted my simulation assessments during Project War Profit operations. You implemented Special Operations plans based on my predictive modeling data because you knew it was accurate and professionally developed. How can you be certain I wasn't involved in the intelligence compromises that destroyed your unit? Lisa displayed a quiet smile. Because I've spent 10 years analyzing every detail of what happened to my predictive modeling unit. I know who altered simulation assessments and who profited from selling modeling capabilities to enemy organizations. Most importantly, I know you requested verification of simulation reports multiple times because you suspected something was wrong with the tactical development process. General Morrison's expression showed recognition. How could you possibly know about those verification requests? Those simulation communications were classified at the highest levels. I had assistance from people within the predictive modeling community who weren't compromised, Lisa admitted. Not everyone involved in tactical development was participating in the intelligence sales. There are still professional soldiers within the system who wanted the truth exposed and who wanted to prevent special operations from being betrayed because of systematic simulation compromise. As she prepared to coordinate both mission conclusion and evidence transfer, Command Sergeant Major Harrison approached. "Specialist," he said with formal respect, then dropped his voice. "Lisa, we thought you had been safely transferred after Project War Prophet was terminated." "I know," she replied quietly. "I maintained that cover while continuing the investigation we started. Thank you for trusting my simulation assessments. What happens to special operations now?" Lisa indicated her simulation displays showing real-time mission coordination. "Now we develop special operations security based on accurate predictive assessments and proper operational security. Tactical planning can finally proceed with confidence because someone exposed the systematic simulation betrayal." The operations center remained focused on mission implications while simultaneously processing the broader scope of systematic intelligence sales to enemy organizations. General Morrison coordinated effective mission responses while Agent Martinez secured evidence for formal counterintelligence investigation. Lisa stood with the tactical staff who had unknowingly been working with compromised simulation capabilities for years. From her simulation equipment, she retrieved carefully preserved operational records from Project War Prophet, predictive models, tactical data, simulation effectiveness reports, operational security documentation, and presented them to the appropriate staff members who had been struggling with inconsistent tactical intelligence reports. They maintained professional standards until the end, she told them, referring to her former simulation unit members. They never compromised their predictive modeling development even when they realized our capabilities were being systematically sold to enemy organizations. A tactical planner who had processed simulation reports from multiple special operations held one of the data storage devices carefully. These predictive modeling techniques were always more sophisticated than anything we received from regular tactical channels, he said with growing understanding. They trained me to maintain the highest professional standards, Lisa said quietly. Everything I've done for the past 10 years was to honor their professional dedication and ensure special operations wouldn't be betrayed because of the same simulation compromises. As tactical staff coordinated mission planning with restored confidence in their simulation assessments, General Morrison approached once more. "Specialist Prophet, the Pentagon will want comprehensive briefings about both your evidence and the simulation compromises you've documented." Lisa nodded. "I'm prepared for that. But first, special operations need to proceed based on accurate predictive modeling and proper operational security. And the military operations that might be at risk from other compromised simulation capabilities? The evidence I've provided should allow you to identify which special operations and simulation assessments have been systematically compromised by the same intelligence sales network," Lisa replied with professional certainty. "Every special operations mission deserves accurate simulation support and proper operational security." Lieutenant Colonel Hayes approached with obvious concern. "I still struggle to understand how you can be certain those of us who unknowingly used compromised simulation capabilities weren't deliberately participating in these intelligence sales. Because responsibility belongs with those who created the simulation compromises and profited from the intelligence sales, not those who were deceived by systematically altered predictive information," Lisa explained. "You've been carrying operational responsibility for tactical problems that were caused by deliberate intelligence betrayal, not by professional failures of simulation judgment." As she prepared to leave the isolated simulation station for integration with the main tactical staff, her position shifted from the back of the facility to the central coordination area, the transition of a technical specialist operating with simulation authority rather than a simulation analyst relegated to computer modeling. For a moment, she paused to observe the tactical displays showing the successful enemy prediction and subsequent mission protection coordination. The tactical staff was coordinating with accurate simulation capabilities for the first time in years. General Morrison was commanding special operations with restored confidence in his simulation support. Lieutenant Colonel Hayes was working to identify other potentially compromised tactical assessments. Command Sergeant Major Harrison watched her from the tactical console, his distinguished face reflecting professional respect and determination. Lisa acknowledged him with a slight nod before focusing on continued mission coordination. Her mission wasn't completely finished. There would be extensive counterintelligence debriefings, formal criminal investigations, and probably congressional oversight hearings. The full scope of the intelligence sales to enemy organizations would need to be exposed, and those responsible held accountable at every level of government and private contracting. But the most critical part was accomplished. The truth was revealed, and special operations could again proceed with confidence that simulation support was serving American interests rather than enemy organizations through systematic betrayal. As mission operations concluded with proper simulation coordination, a security official approached. Specialist Prophet, Agent Martinez has arranged secure facilities for your continued participation in both special operations and formal counterintelligence investigation procedures. She coordinated final mission handoffs while remaining conscious of the eyes following her transition from isolation to integration. Tactical staff, simulation analysts, predictive personnel. For 10 years, she had worked invisibly, maintaining technical competence while gathering evidence about systematic intelligence betrayal to enemy organizations. Now she operated openly, her identity and expertise fully utilized for mission success rather than concealed for personal security. Command Sergeant Major Harrison approached her before she transitioned to investigative coordination. Specialist, he said quietly. What you accomplished. Maintaining special operations effectiveness while investigating simulation compromises, gathering evidence while maintaining cover, revealing the truth at the critical tactical moment. It represents exceptional professional courage and predictive modeling work of the highest caliber. I had obligations to my simulation unit and to operations that would be conducted using compromised predictive capabilities, she replied simply. It was significantly more than professional obligation, he insisted. It was simulation development and operational security analysis of exceptional quality under extremely difficult circumstances. Lisa allowed herself a professional smile. You provided effective training during Project War Profit operations, Sergeant Major. I provided simulation procedures and predictive training, he corrected. What you demonstrated today came from exceptional personal integrity and professional dedication to protecting special operations. He watched her coordinate final evidence transfer with the investigative team, then addressed General Morrison, who had joined them. Some soldiers never receive appropriate recognition for protecting special operations, he said quietly. They simply carry the responsibility through exceptional professional performance. General Morrison nodded, observing Lisa's coordination with both mission and investigative personnel. And some truths require years of patient investigation to emerge and protect simulation capabilities. The morning continued as Lisa's mission coordination transitioned from the operations center to formal counterintelligence procedures. Behind her, the tactical staff operated with renewed confidence as special operations proceeded with accurate simulation support and proper operational security. The tactical staff worked with restored trust, knowing their capabilities would support special operations without systematic compromise by enemy interests. Ahead lay the challenge of ensuring complete accountability and dismantling the entire intelligence sales network responsible for systematic simulation compromise. But for now, in this moment between concealed investigation and revealed truth, the simple act of providing accurate predictive modeling had transformed a potentially catastrophic special operations ambush into successful tactical coordination. The power of one soldier's quiet determination to honor fallen colleagues and protect special operations, even when it required years of patient evidence gathering to expose betrayals that powerful interests had systematically concealed while profiting from intelligence sales to enemy organizations. As mission coordination concluded successfully, Lisa's secure communication system crackled with an update from Special Operations Command. All Special Operations elements. This is Special Operations Command. Mission successfully rerouted with 0 casualties. Tactical security restored thanks to accurate simulation coordination. Lisa closed her eyes briefly and smiled for the first time in 10 years, knowing that Special Operations could finally proceed with confidence and proper simulation security.